Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is my 10-week update in my teacher bullet journal, and I have another binder out here to kind of show you. Since I changed my organization for this year, I wanted to kind of touch on how this new organization has been working as well. So first off, let's take a look in my bullet journal. So I will have some information covered up as needed for privacy, but inside, I just have my schedule and my color code. I actually have also added, it's kind of hard to see, whoops, I've added in pencil some rooms that I can work in that are empty during these hours, so that if I want to actually do some work while I'm at school, I can find an empty room and get that done, but I don't have to like search every single time I want to go. So that was just the little addition there. Then I've got my index. So I think I mentioned this at some point, I can't remember, but I did go ahead and I filled out my index, but I kept it pretty basic. So I only have sort of the main thing. So year at a glance and holidays, monthlies, weeklies, and then notes. And then I'm saving all of this index space to label my notes, to index my notes, because I think that that's the section where I tend to lose stuff, because it's just this like set of blank pages that I then fill up with notes. And so I know exactly where my monthlies and my weeklies are. I don't really need to index like January or week 10 or whatever. So I'm saving it to do all of my indexing for notes. So that's kind of what I did, since especially I only have one spread for index. I wanted to make the best use of my space. Then I have my little year at a glance. So I just have the leadership manifesto that's from Daring Greatly. So if you guys have been around, I've probably talked about Brene Brown and this book. So it was one of the downloads from her website. So I just stuck that in there. I thought that was a really nice thing to have. Then I have a little year at a glance. As you see, I cross off the months as we finish them. And then I've got my school holidays as well down here that I check off once we're done. And then we get into monthlies. So I actually have been really good, and I've been using a ruler to cross off the days, which is like a level of precision that I normally don't mess around with, but like, it works. And I will say that doing one-page monthlies was a great idea, because as you can see, I haven't even used any of this extra space that I had sort of thought I would use for notes. I've just been fitting everything in on here. So I think that this was a good choice. I will definitely be keeping one-page monthlies in the future, because that's really all the space that I need. So you can see I've got some different things color-coded. Red is urgent, yellow is holidays, purple is for my 11th graders, blue is, or this like periwinkle is for 8th graders. So just got a bunch of random information in there. I've got all of my weeks labeled. So I have the calendar week and the school week, because they're not the same, you know, gotta have both. So that is in here. I tried to update as much as I could, but there were a few things that I left in pencil because they're not definitive yet. So I wanted to make sure I could change them in the future if needed. So through July, and then we get into weeklies. So, you know, I honestly love my weeklies. This has been the setup that I've used for the past 3 years. It looked a little different when I was a student teacher, but last year and this year, it's worked so well for me. I love having, I have the color code, I have my notes, like this just honestly works so well. And I've really tried to do my best to color code my notes so that I see at a glance what I need to do for which class. Anything that's in red is an urgent thing. Anything that's in black is something that's not necessarily applicable to any one particular class. So that kind of gives you, or if I have something that I'm gonna do for all my classes, I tend to do it in black. But that has just been a really great way of kind of keeping things organized, and I've been really good about staying on top of stuff for the most part. I have a couple things that have gotten migrated, but for the most part, I've been able to stay on top of stuff. And I will, so for example, in here, this was a training that we had to go to. I had to go get my visa. So anything that affects like me being at school during school hours, I will put on here, even if it's not specifically a work thing. Otherwise, I leave all that in my personal bullet journal. So it's really very few things that get put on here that aren't work related. So this was when we had 2 days off because of the factory explosion that happened at the end of September. So I had like planned all of this. I kind of screwed up. I had a lot of whiteout the next week because I had to kind of make up for lost time. You know, I had to push things back. So I label when we have grades due so that I know when I have to do them. So the way that I do it is I typically label it here, and then doing grades goes on my notes for this like the previous week so that I know to do them ahead of time. This was one where they actually pushed grades back because we didn't have school those 2 days, so it was on this week, but normally I tried to do it for the week before they're due, so I'm not scrambling at the last second to get them done. So this has honestly been working really well. I like the setup a lot. I really do. So you can see here, sometimes in my off periods, I'll write what I worked on. So if it was something work related especially, I'll write what I worked on, but I'll do it in black so I know it wasn't actually a class. Anything that I need to do, for example, checking homework. Checking homework sometimes goes in black, sometimes goes in red, but it's just not in the color of the class so that it stands out. I've actually gotten to the point now where I'll write my notes in color, but a lot of times I just cross them out in black because it's easier and that's the pen I'm holding as I'm like going through and doing this. So that's why that kind of changed. So things got changed around here. Things, you know, things get updated and switched, and that's fine. As you guys have probably noticed, I have this up at the top. I am trying really hard to plan as much in advance as possible, but on any given week, there might be some little thing that I need to work on, or maybe I've caught up to a week that I haven't yet planned. So I just have a little tracker of all the lessons that I actually need to plan so that when they're done, I cross them off and I know, okay, I'm good to go. I have everything I need. I can just make sure I bring everything to class. So this is actually for this week. So you guys can see here, we had a holiday here. I'm on a field trip here. So all kinds of fun stuff going on there. I've got grades due the following week. So that, but I've actually also started, so my goal by the Christmas holidays, well, by kind of the end of next week, is to have all of my classes planned through up to the Christmas holidays. So you guys can see here, I've got most of them done, but I have these two are half cross off. This one's a little messy, but it's actually a half cross off one. So I'm almost ready for that one. I just need to kind of confirm that I have everything. Then here you can see I've got more open tasks. So I want to work on getting these done. So I've basically just got all of my classes, you know, when I lay out my weeklies, so let's pick one. Do I have one that I don't have fully done? Not really. So basically when I lay out my weekly, I will just write in what the class is in the color code, and then as I go through and plan, I'll fill everything in and then cross stuff off here. So this lets me see at a glance. I know exactly what my classes are, but it lets me see that I haven't planned a lot of the lessons for this particular week, and so I have to do that. So, and you can see I tend to have, if I have something on here, it tends to be all of the lessons I have for one particular class because I tend to go through and plan the entire unit sort of in advance. And so, you know, this one we've got planned, this one's another one that I've got planned. And that's just kind of helps keep me on track rather than planning lesson by lesson, day by day. This kind of keeps things more like big picture in my mind. So this is the last one before the Christmas holidays. So again, I have the same two classes that I've planned basically through the Christmas holidays. So my goal in the next week or two is to get the rest of these all filled in up through the end of December basically. And then I think I've started, oh no, so soon I'm going to need to go through and fill in all of my classes. So when I get to a point that I haven't yet planned, this is what my weeklies look like. So I need to kind of work on that later, which this was actually supposed to be a 10-week update, so I went a little further, but as you guys can see, this is kind of the way that I organize and that I make sure I stay up to date on my planning and all of that stuff. Then in the back, I'm not gonna be able to show you a ton of my notes, but basically just some really quick notes that I have here. I paste in things if I need and all of that kind of stuff. And then in the back, this is from the beginning of the school year, and I need to actually go through this and see if it's even still relevant. I'm not even sure. I have to check and see what's in the back there. Oops, and then I had another engaged feedback checklist. So this is another thing from Daring Greatly that I got from Brene Brown's website. So I just glued that in the back there. So yeah, so that is all in here. And I thought I would go ahead and show you guys in one of my binders. So this is my high school binder. So I actually have 3 classes in high school and they're all the same grade level, but like different groups of kids. This has actually been going really well. So I basically have a binder of general information that I typically leave at work during the school week, and then I bring it home on the weekend in case I have stuff I need to update, but I don't typically need that information during the week when I'm at home. I have a binder for high school, I have a binder for middle school, and I have a binder, so I have a binder for my head class, and I also have a binder for participation grade like stuff. So the binders for middle school and high school are definitely the ones that I use the most, and I like having this setup because it has all, especially since I have in high school, for example, I have 2 regular English classes and an honors class. And so having all of this information together, especially for these 2, means that if I'm in class with them and I realize that we're not gonna have time to do this thing, then I have the information for the other class to make some notes. So that has been really useful. And as you see, when I go through my slides, because this is essentially my lesson plan, I just kind of cross off and I'll write the dates in, because I actually print these out once I finish my slides, but oftentimes it's before I've actually put the dates in. So for example, this one was one that I worked on in the summer, so I had no idea exactly when we were going to start. So once I found that out, I wrote the dates in. And you can see here that I've got the dates in, and sometimes I write the actual date, sometimes it's just the day of the week that I know we're going to get to it, and go ahead and cross things out as needed. I'll do little arrows saying like this has to happen next class, things that need to get moved around. This got a little crazy. But this is a really good way for me to kind of keep up to date, and then I a lot of times will work on this a little bit. If they have stuff to work on during class, I will work on this, and then when I have a free moment, I'll update the PowerPoint to make sure it reflects what we're actually going to be doing the next class, so that I'm not actually like, you know, some activity that we got to early or something that we didn't get to that I thought we would is not on the PowerPoint slide for that day, like confusing the kids. So I try to use this to help me stay up to date with everything, and it's been working pretty well, I will say. So this was another one, things got a little bit out of order. I actually kind of have to update this. We did this already, but we haven't done any of this. And then I just have all of my originals in case I need them, and then ditto with this one. So we are actually starting a new unit this week. No, we started a new unit last week. And because I basically got the PowerPoint set up and ready to go, but I only had the first like 2 lessons done. I actually didn't print it out. And so I actually just printed it out, and I was able to put in all of the dates, which is, it doesn't always happen. But this, I have all the dates for this particular unit that I think is going to take us into January. So, and again, this is information for an escape room we're gonna do. So documents for the kids, original copies, and then another exam thing we have to do, document that I was given from a colleague. So that is basically the system. I've been using it now for 9 weeks, going on 10, and it's been working really well. I really like that I streamlined my bullet journal for this year. I don't miss any of the things that I had done in previous years. Like I think I chose pretty well in what I really needed to keep in order to get stuff done. And I really like that I have a binder, like binders based on the age level rather than a binder per class. I feel like I'm much less likely to accidentally forget something, and it's nice that I can kind of go back and forth between classes if I need to update things. So that is my 10-week update. If you guys have any comments or questions, let me know down below. If you have other things you'd like to see or hear how I actually do them for my classes, let me know and I can try and add them to the list of videos to do in the future. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Hey guys, so if you've made it all the way to the end of this video and are actually watching my end screen and you're not subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you would. There's a little button right there for you to do it. And if you're interested in watching some more of my videos, I have links to 2 of my older videos off to the left there, so you can check those out if you would like to, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.